All right, so hey everyone, welcome to our essential oil webinar class. I'm really excited. Thank you, Karen and Katie, for hopping on with me and inviting some people onto this call with us. It's going to be just a super quick educational online class, so I hope you enjoy it. But go ahead and use the chat bar if you have comments or questions, or you can unmute yourself and just ask them live. Feel free to do that if you'd like. Otherwise, the chat bar would be great. If I miss a question, hopefully Katie and Karen can help answer any of those questions or respond to any comments that you have. So intentions for tonight is just we're going to chat about what essential oils are, why doTERRA, how we use essential oils, and then some of the top essential oils and their uses. There's no obligation to purchase anything, but if you do see something that you want in your home, myself or Karen or Katie would be more than happy to help you get that into your homes for you. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to hop right into it. So just give me a second. Awesome. So you'll see me still up in the top corner, or one of us. But so super basic, essential oils for beginners. We're going to break it down from the very beginning here, but just follow along as we go through. There we go. So what is an essential oil? I feel like this is a question that I think I overlooked in the very beginning because I was just like, oh, I've heard of these things. They have to be magical. Let me just go ahead and use them. But then when I started to learn what they were, I just felt like it was a little bit more powerful for me. So essential oils, they're just an aromatic compound that can be found on all parts of a plant. So that little image in the top that looks kind of like a dinosaur skin, it's actually a zoomed in picture of a peppermint leaf. And those little white sacs are essential oil sacs. And basically, you can extract those from plants by using steam distillation or cold pressing. So like if you think of a citrus peel, if you've ever peeled an orange or a lemon, you see the little bits of like residue that's left on your fingers. Those are essential oils that come off the plant. So you can get them from leaves, bark, roots, flowers, basically all aspects of the plant. And what they do for the plant is they actually protect that plant from harsh environmental conditions or protect them against insects. They also really help in pollination, but also the immune support of a plant. And the reason I love essential oils is because the human body's cells are made up very similarly to that of a plant's essential oils. So when we use those, our cellular structure recognizes it, and so we can easily incorporate them into our body without any harmful side effects like you would have from any synthetic products like over-the-counters and other pharmaceuticals. Now, a really good example of just what an essential oil is peppermint. This will show you how strong essential oils really are. So one drop of essential oil, one drop of peppermint is equivalent to 28 drops of peppermint tea. So they're highly concentrated. So I always tell people, you know, when they ask why is the bottle so small, it seems like such a small amount for such a large dollar amount. But really, you just need one drop to effectively use for your entire body and to really get the full benefit. So peppermint, obviously a really strong essential oil. If you've ever smelled it before, you were probably like, oh my goodness, there's my sinuses have woken up. So peppermint's really great for invigorating the lungs. It can cool the body for fevers or menopausal. It's great for freshening the breath. You can put a drop right underneath your tongue. If you're very new to essential oils and haven't done that before, you might want to ease into that because peppermint is very strong. So you can add it to water to help calm stomach upset, or you can just rub it right onto your stomach. Or my favorite way to use peppermint essential oil is rubbing it onto my temples if I have a headache. But it's really great to increase alertness and focus. So I oftentimes incorporate it into just my own work schedule or with the kids when we really want to try to focus on reading or schoolwork or anything like that, since we do homeschool. So that's a little bit about peppermint and like what an essential oil is. I always love to answer just why explore the options, right? Because obviously we have great Western medicine that's out there, but there is that argument of, well, what about all the side effects, or what about the cost to it? Or it just seems like doctors these days aren't really fully addressing my actual health, and they're just kind of masking, giving me things that mask a lot of my issues, right? I know I dealt with this growing up because I just would go to my doctor and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And then she'd prescribe me something and like send me on my merry way. But I would always find that those things would reoccur. So like I would get bladder infections and I would be back to the doctor like every other month because of those bladder infections. And I'm like, okay, these things are working to get rid of the infection, but why do I keep having them? So that was my big transition into this, you know, my essential oil journey and really just a natural lifestyle, was because I kept asking those questions like, well, why does this keep popping up, or why is this an issue? And I started to learn it was just my body had built up that tolerance over time, and it was just having those repetitive issues because my body was reliant on a lot of the things that it was on. So what synthetics and pharmaceuticals do is they just address, they mask all the symptoms versus addressing the problems. The reason I love turning to essential oils is I found out that they're very affordable compared. So I've been able to get rid of a lot of infections without the use of antibiotics in my home. So it's just pennies per the drop if you're looking at the cost versus setting a doctor's appointment, going in and paying co-pays and paying for the prescriptions and then worrying about potential side effects. Plus, essential oils are available at home immediately. If you have them in your medicine cabinet, you can turn to them right away. And as long as you're using them properly, then there's not going to be any side effects. With doTERRA, the adverse reactions are 0.0006%, and that very tiny percentage is people that misuse essential oils. They think, oh, I'm going to bathe myself in them, or maybe they got some into their eye and didn't realize how much peppermint would sting if it gets into your eye, or taking oregano underneath the tongue without diluting it, things like that, which we'll talk about some of the safety, and if you do have questions regarding that, we will get into it, but definitely no side effects with proper recommended use, unlike medications, pharmaceuticals, and synthetics might have. One great example of an essential oil that you can use pretty, versatilely throughout a lot of different areas of your home is lavender. And so lavender is a big, I call it the Swiss Army knife of essential oils, because we can use it for so many different issues versus having to be like, oh, let me run to the doctor for this, run to the doctor for that. Lavender is great at soothing irritated skin. So if you get those bug bites that are really itchy, or lavender also helps at deterring a lot of bugs away, which is really great. It's obviously great for soothing emotions. I think one of the main benefits of lavender, people think, oh, it's going to help me relax and sleep. So you can add some drops to your pillow. You can put them in a diffuser, which we'll talk about diffusing a little bit later. Really great for just relaxing the mind, but also relaxing the body. So if you have, irritated muscles, irritated skin, definitely applying it there. Really great for cuts and scrapes. So we use it as like a natural owie spray with our kiddos, since it is very gentle. And then I also love to use lavender just as a natural burn remedy. So if you're ever in your kitchen, or I often find it when I'm curling my hair and I just kind of being careless or quick and you accidentally burn yourself, the quicker you use lavender essential oil directly onto the burn, it'll actually stop the spread of the burn, and you'll notice that scarring and irritation will oftentimes not pop up. So one of the great things to have right on hand. So lavender has over 200 compounds, and they're always looking to study essential oils further to see what else they can be helpful for. But Swiss Army knife of oils, definitely having lavender around is great compared to all those pharmaceuticals that are only good for one thing, right? That's what I always felt. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about why doTERRA, since there are obviously a lot of choices nowadays. I mean, you can go to Target, Walmart, Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can walk into, even the dollar store, I think, has essential oils. But I do want to be careful to share that not all essential oils are created equally. When I was doing a lot of research into seeing, okay, I want to do this natural lifestyle, but I didn't know exactly where I was going to turn, I did a ton of research, and I kept coming back to doTERRA. And the reason being was doTERRA saw this need in the marketplace of essential oils, how they were kind of being carelessly made. They were being tampered with. There wasn't really a pure essential oil on the marketplace, one that was doing the best of its abilities to say, hey, this has been tested multiple times. We're going to be very open and transparent with all the testing results. And doTERRA covered all those bases for me. That little image just shows all the different types of essential oils you can find in the marketplace. The most common found ones are synthetic. So obviously you could take what happens naturally in nature and you can recreate that in a lab. So you can recreate lavender properties in a lab, or peppermint properties. And then oftentimes pharmaceutical companies will take those properties and just recreate them in the lab. But what happens is when you get a synthetic form, your body no longer is able to recognize and use it the way that it's meant to. So if you're using synthetic oils that you find, you know, at the dollar store, you're like, hey, they're $1 or they're $6.99 at Walmart for a bottle of frankincense, so I wanted to go for that. And you're finding that it's not working, it's probably because it's synthetic. Or if you have had a reaction in the past due to essential oils, it was probably because it had been tampered with. So synthetic is the most found grade of essential oil in the marketplace. Right above that is food grade. So anything that flavors any of the food that we might eat, like if you were to eat a lollipop, it's using food grade essential oils to flavor that. And then above that is therapeutic. So therapeutic is oftentimes used in massage, or aromatherapy, but doTERRA wanted to go one step further, and they said, we're going to create a certified pure therapeutic grade, meaning every time we put a batch out, you know, a batch of essential oil out into the marketplace, it's going to be exactly the same, and it's not going to have any impurities. It's obviously all their farming and processes are really great, but they wanted to be sure that every time you get an essential oil, it's going to work. I would hate to use one time and you're like, oh, it worked really great, and then get another batch and you're like, why isn't this working anymore? So they wanted to make sure to like clear cut, make that like that. Now, one big thing I love about doTERRA also is that they actually source from all over the world. So what they decided to do was, instead of creating these massive farms here in the US, planting all the plants that they would need to create these essential oils, they decided to go directly to the source. So, you know, lavender is actually grown in the south of France and Bulgaria, and they source it from there because you find the best, most pure lavender in those areas, and they're thriving in that habitat because that's where they were intended to be. And so you can harvest an essential oil that's so much stronger and so much more potent and has all the best qualities in it. So when you're using doTERRA's essential oils, you're finding that they're a little bit truly goes so much farther than any of the other oils you might find on the marketplace. But then also they're partnering with farmers and distillers all across the world. I think about it's between 60 to 80% of our essential oils are actually come from third world countries. So they're partnering with all these people, making sure that they're paid fairly. And we have this really cool partnership from literally the ground up through the process of making these essential oils. So a little bit about why doTERRA. Now, frankincense is actually a really good example of that. So frankincense, if you've heard about frankincense, it's the king of essential oils, and that could either be because it was given to Jesus or because it's got so many amazing properties. Jury's out. But frankincense is actually sourced from Somalia and Oman. And it comes from these amazing trees that have been around for many centuries. And so the trees take thousands, not thousands, but they take years to grow. But the trees have been in these families for generations. So oftentimes one family will own, you know, a land with so many boswellia trees on it. Sometimes they grow out of the sides of rocks, so they could be really hard to harvest oils from. So frankincense, you might often see that it's a higher priced essential oil, but you have to think about how difficult it is to harvest the essential oil and how much they actually have in demand. So frankincense was an oil that was starting to be so over harvested that they were finding that you basically, how to harvest frankincense essential oil is you have to score the tree, meaning you take a knife and you actually you know, gouge it, and then the resin seeps out, and that's how you get the frankincense oil. And if you do that too many times, you can hurt the health of the tree and it could die. And so they were finding that was happening all across the areas of Somalia. And so doTERRA went in, they said, no, we cannot let these trees die, because if these trees die, we no longer have this amazing oil. So they put a practice in place where they work directly with these families and they rotate the harvesting of the trees. So that way no tree gets over harvested. They don't hurt the quality of the tree, therefore not hurting the quality of the essential oil, which I think is really cool. There's really amazing videos and information out there if you want to look further into like the partnerships that doTERRA does with a lot of these people. But frankincense is one of the coolest stories that's out there. Now, the essential oil itself is amazing. So like I said, king of the oils. So frankincense is known to promote cellular health. It combats inflammation. You can use it topically in your moisturizer to help beautify the skin. It's known to help with, you know, again, fight against wrinkles, age spots, scarring, any imperfections that you might want to go, you know, and try to get rid of. It's great for immune function. So you can use it to actually keep your body's immune function at a high level. And it's being studied for a lot of its anti-cancerous properties. So I know I'm not a bedding person. And so I love incorporating frankincense into my daily routine. So there is a phrase out there, when in doubt, get frankincense out. So if you had oils in your cupboard and you're like, I don't really know how to use them yet, but if you had frankincense in there, you pretty much can turn to it and be totally covered. Now, essential oils and how they're effective. Once I started learning about them, I was like, cool, this kind of still seems a little voodoo, not voodoo, but I was like, I understand there's science to it, but I totally don't get it. And so when I learned a little bit more, I found this graphic to be one of my favorite because it explained a little bit about why essential oils are so much more effective than pharmaceuticals. So I obviously grew up with Western medicine, and I started to see that cycle of like, either A, they didn't always help, or they put me in this regressive cycle of always coming back to the same issues. And so when you're actually looking at a cell in our body, this little image shows that there's a bacteria and virus that we always come, against in our lifetime. Just because we're living really healthy lives, even with essential oils, does not mean we're all powerful against that virus and bacteria. We're still going to come in contact with it. So how these work, virus is actually inside the cell versus bacteria is on the outside. So if you go into your doctor and you have a bacterial infection, they give you an antibiotic because you can take the antibiotic can kill the bacteria that's outside of that cell, and then so be it, you go on your merry way. But when it comes to having a virus, oftentimes when you go to the doctor and you have a flu or a really bad cold, they oftentimes are going to send you home and say, okay, just go drink a lot of water and rest it off. And that's because pharmaceuticals actually cannot penetrate the cell wall. And so I found it amazing when I learned essential oils can. So when you're using essential oils and incorporating them into your health routine, especially when it comes to immunity or fighting off different viruses and bacteria that we come in contact with, essential oils can actually penetrate that cell wall to help our body combat different things we come against on a daily basis. So I hope that image brings a little bit of clarity. It helped me a ton. And so that visual one, I don't know, I always just felt like it was really helpful. And now the essential oils that are great examples of working against both virus and bacterial infections are Melaleuca and oregano. Now these are two very potent smelling oils. Melaleuca is tea tree oil. So if you get tea tree now, it's actually labeled as tea tree from doTERRA. They just transitioned that name because the Melaleuca is actually the plant that it comes from, and they wanted people to understand, no, this is still tea tree oil. This is just the plant that it specifically comes from. So Melaleuca is very powerful for the immune system. It's great for nourishing the skin. It's wonderful to help against rashes. So if you're fighting either hives or any other type of rash like skin discomfort, irritations, you can use Melaleuca, especially combined with lavender, are one of the best go-tos for basic rashes. And you can also use it for mouth irritation. So like get a cold sore will pop up. You could just dab it on there, but also blemishes on the skin. So if you feel, a pimple starting to come up, you could just take and dab your finger just directly on it. Melaleuca is actually very gentle, so using it directly on the skin, you shouldn't have an issue. But if you're new to essential oils, you can always dilute them just as a start. But you can also use it for ear infections. So these two essential oils were my game changer. I was using them and I was like, hey, I trust that they work, but I hadn't seen anything yet until I went to the pediatrician and my doctor was like, hey, your 9-month-old has a double ear infection. I was like, great, I didn't know. He was showing no signs. I was like, okay, what do I do? And my pediatrician, he actually uses doTERRA, and he knew that I did too. And so he asked me, do you want to go home with antibiotics, or do you want to try to fight this naturally? And I said, well, if there's an option, of course I want to try to fight it naturally. And so he said, okay, you're going to want to use Melaleuca and oregano. Melaleuca applied to a cotton ball you can place it directly on the ear. That way it can soothe the ear discomfort, and the Melaleuca can also be massaged around the outside of the ear. You never want to drop them inside the ear canal, but massaged all around. And then oregano, he said, dilute it. So oregano is very powerful. You don't ever want to use it undiluted. It's an incredibly strong essential oil. So dilute it with coconut oil and rub it on the bottoms of his feet to help support his immune system. Now, I came back in a week. His double ear infection was completely cleared up. And I was like, wow, that actually worked. And that was amazing. So neither of my kids have ever been on an antibiotic just because I've had these powerful remedies in my own home. So Melaleuca is known to be antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and antiseptic. So great for combating against like even lice, or if you have any it's great for nail and skin health. So if you have any issues with like ingrowns or come back from the nail salon and you're like, well, I don't know about that place, it was a little sketchy, just apply some melaleuca on there and it'll be great. Oregano is nature's natural antibiotic. So it's the one that you really won't turn to a whole lot. It's not an essential oil you're going to want to often smell. You can use it in your cooking, but it takes honestly such a small amount, less than a drop, into spaghetti, and you've got your oregano flavor. And the way you could do that is you can actually use a toothpick and just dab it in there, swirl it into your food, and you're going to have oregano essential oil in there instead of having to use the actual plant or dried spices. But mainly using this one as an antibiotic. So if you ever come down with something and you're not sure what it is, immediately incorporating oregano into either internal use or on the bottoms of your feet is incredible for the immune system. It's going to stimulate it and really help to bounce you back. Now, are there any questions so far before we just jump into talking about how to use essential oils? I'm just going to assume not. If you put them into the chat bar, please feel free to do so and we can help answer them. But the great thing about doTERRA essential oils is there's actually 3 different ways that you can use them. So the first and the most basic way to use them is aromatic. I think most people, when you think of essential oils, is, oh, I want my house to smell good, or, you know, it smells so lovely, right? That's the first thing that comes to mind. The second way you can use them is topically, and then the third is internally. And so there's different reasons why you'd turn to each method, and so we're going to kind of go over, break that down a little bit more. Now, aromatic use, like I said, that was the very first use that came to my mind. So it's super simple to use essential oils aromatically. You could just take your essential oil bottle and just literally take a deep breath, uncap it, and just inhale directly from the bottle. That's a way to get aromatic use of essential oil. The second way you can get it is you can actually just put a drop in your hand and you can rub your hands together. Now, this is going to warm up the essential oil, which is going to increase the aromatics. And then that's a little bit more powerful way to get those aromatic benefits on the go. But the best and the easiest way to use them is by using a diffuser. So in the image, you see a little round diffuser. That's a water-based diffuser. Basically, you would take off the top, pour in some water, and add about 2 to 6 drops of essential oil, depending on room size, sometimes more. And just 2 to 6 drops in there, and you're gonna set it and forget it. So if you're like, you know what, I'm fighting allergies today, you can drop lemon, lavender, and peppermint in there. Or maybe you have a spouse or a family member that they're just not so into essential oil use. Well, they're still going to get the benefits if you're diffusing them in your home. So you can just go ahead and set the diffuser and forget it. A great way to help with mood, emotional support. It's also really great for respiratory support and also cleansing the air. So those are the ways, if you were like, you know, I'm dealing with a lot of emotional mood swings or combating depression, I'm really stressed out, anxiety is really high, I need help sleeping, I deal with, you know, congestion all the time because of allergies, or my child has asthma. If those are the kinds of things that you're thinking of, aromatic use of essential oil is going to be your #1 go-to. Now, the second way, these are great. Let me talk about these 2 oils first because they're great examples of aromatic use. So the first one pictured is Breathe. It's doTERRA's respiratory blend. So doTERRA not only makes singular essential oils, meaning they come from one plant, but they go ahead and take the guesswork out of blending certain ones together for specific uses. So Breathe is a respiratory blend. It's honestly exactly that. It's used for anything to make, you know, easy breathing, or just to make breathing a little bit easier. So asthma, congestion, you can use it at night to have a more restful sleep. You could put 2 to 3 drops on the bottom of your feet or onto your chest, almost as like, if you think of using like a Vicks Vapor Rub, you can replace that Vicks Vapor Rub with something like Breathe as a natural remedy. So definitely great for asthma and pneumonia, even things like COPD. So anything breathing and respiratory, you can go ahead and use that essential oil for that. Now, OnGuard is another blend that doTERRA has created, and OnGuard is basically all things protective. So this is it smells like fall in a bottle, so it's really wonderful scent, but beyond that, it's great for immune support. And it's honestly such a great blend that they've created an entire line. So that image down there shows a lot of the things that they've created off of this one essential oil blend. Anything from hand soap to toothpaste. They have mouthwash that's honestly amazing. Cleaner concentrates, throat drops, laundry detergents, pretty much everything that you could think you'd want something like immune support in, they've created it. So OnGuard does contain clove, which is nature's most powerful antioxidant. I was shocked to learn that it's way more powerful than blueberries. Like I grew up thinking blueberries are like super strong antioxidants. Well, clove like way outranks it on the antioxidant scale. So you can diffuse OnGuard in the air to eliminate environmental threats if cold and flu season's going around, or if just things are going around in school and you're like, I don't want my kids to pick it up, diffusing OnGuard can help keep your immune system on a high. Now, the next way to use essential oils is topical use. So if you combating mood and emotional support or respiratory and then eliminating pathways in the air would be all aromatic. Moving on to topical use would be something more along the lines, okay, I have a physical pain, or maybe I have a stomach ache, a headache. I just want to support my body on more of a cellular level versus, through the senses. So when you're thinking of using a topical use of essential oils, some of the most beneficial areas would be the neck, because it's right around the brain stem. You can use it on your forehead and temples if you're dealing with tension or headaches. You can use it on your chest and your abdomen for either like respiratory support or anything digestive. You're going to want to apply it around those areas. Or if you just have that specific area of pain, if you're like, I've got tennis elbow, or I actually have arthritis in my wrist, and so that's one thing I use topical use of essential oils for a lot. But if you just wanted overall immune or basic generic support on a daily basis, go to the bottom of the feet. So the bottom of the foot is the best place to put your essential oil if you're not sure, but you want to be using your essential oils topically, especially on kids, because they can't get to it as easy. Like you could put socks over their feet and then that kind of keeps them away from the essential oil. Now, the bottoms of the feet is a great place to start because the bottom of your foot has thousands of nerve endings and it acts like as a highway to your entire body. So even if you had sinus congestion or stomach pains, you could apply them on the bottoms of your feet and your body is going to send the oil exactly where it needs to go. I always found that as very powerful. So I was like, okay, so I pretty much don't need a master's degree to understand how to use essential oils. I can just put some on the bottoms of my kids' feet. And then I'm like, all right, Dr. Mom, the oils are going to know what to do. They're just going to go. Now, when you're using your essential oils topically, some of the safety issues you want to think about are sensitive areas. So certain facial areas, you don't want to put it directly around the eyes. So I use a ton of essential oils on my face because I'm trying to combat wrinkles. I'm like 30 plus where I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and keep these things away. So I use a ton around the eyes. Now, if you're using certain strong ones, you definitely don't want to go near anywhere near the waterline. Or if you think about if your eye has a tendency to water, it can actually draw the essential oils in. So be very careful applying them around the eyes, never on the inner ears. When using essential oils on broken or injured skin, you actually can, if it's like melaleuca and lavender, like I said, a natural scrapes and bruises blend that you can use, but certain essential oils can have the tendency to sting injured skin. So just use with caution. If you're not sure, apply it around the area and not directly on the area, and always dilute. So essential oils, like we talked about in the beginning, they're incredibly powerful. One drop of peppermint goes a very long way. So your body does not need to be showered in them. So the best way to use your essential oils is actually by diluting them down into something like a carrier oil. So a carrier oil would be any type of coconut oil, avocado oil. You could even use olive oil. It's just going to act as a carrier for the essential oils into the body. So, and it also lets you dilute them down so it can make very powerful oils like oregano, easy to apply without any sensitivity issues. You could do so by using just a roller bottle like she has in the image. She's applying it on the back of her neck. That's actually diluted lavender in a touch roller that doTERRA has already created. So great for sensitive skin or younger or older individuals. Perfect way to use essential oils. So always dilute if you're unsure. But outside of that, if you do get essential oils in your eye, one of the best things that you could do is using milk to rinse them out, or you can actually place another drop of essential oil outside of your eye, far enough away, and that will help draw the essential oil out because they do gravitate towards each other. It's an interesting science, but hopefully you won't have to deal with that. So those some of the topical use information. Now, Deep Blue is a great example. Deep Blue is another blend that doTERRA created. It's basically all things muscles or pain relief. So I actually use Deep Blue all through labor, and I use that rub. So they have the oil that you can use directly on. I use the oil directly on my wrist because it's very easy application for, sorry, for my arthritis pain. But when it comes to a larger area, you're going to either want to use a carrier oil to help spread that essential oil farther across, or using something like the rub is great to help send the essential oil all over a broader area. So Deep Blue is incredible for muscles and joints. You can use it before and after exercise. I think that was like the most helpful tip that I found, because I have a tendency to get sore if I like do squats. So if you actually apply it before, it's going to help the muscles recuperate quicker. It's basically your natural icy hot is the Deep Blue oil. Now, the last way to use essential oils is internal use. Sometimes people are a little more cautious about internal use of essential oils because they are very powerful. But what I like to tell people is, if you've been using your essential oils aromatically and topically, and you find that there's certain issues that are going to be a lot more difficult to combat, maybe for some people it's digestive issues and they apply topically all the time, but they never quite get that relief that they're looking for, or if it comes to a lot of emotional issues, sometimes diffusing is not going to be enough and you need to step to internal use. This should be more of your last ditch effort if it comes to like more powerful, strong. I've inhaled some dust. I apologize. I guess I'm just too excited over here. But anyway, so internal use of essential oils, you're going to want to step there when it comes to those powerful issues, or if you want to flavor your water. So they have an image of flavoring water. I actually love to flavor my water with lemon essential oil, or oftentimes I'll use a lot of the citruses. Like grapefruit is really wonderful for trying to slim down or helping with overeating. So if you're trying to combat a lot of those cravings that you have, grapefruit's great. But I love to put any of the citrus oils in my water. Just it helps me drink a little bit more water. And I know we should all be drinking probably more than we are in a day. So definitely a great way to flavor your water. But you can also use essential oils internally by putting them into veggie capsules. Now, I don't have them on the screen, but basically what it is an empty pill capsule that you can drop essential oils into, close it up, and take it like you would any other supplement. Now, that's a great way to use essential oils if you are coming down with something like you're sick or combating some infection and you want that powerful like oregano, but you don't want to have to put it in water and taste it. So it's a great way to incorporate oregano or any of the stronger oils, or maybe some of the oils that you don't love the taste of, but still have those benefits into your body. Obviously, you can mix them into smoothies. You can it gives the example of yogurt or applesauce, but I find it best to just add them to my water or put them into a veggie capsule, and then you can get that internal use. This is the best way to benefit your entire digestive system down to your urogenital tract. So if you can't physically touch it from the outside and you're not finding that benefit from the outside, go to internal use of essential oils. Now, two great examples for this. Number one is lemon. And lemon is really powerful at breaking down phytochemicals in your body. So obviously we all come in contact with tons of toxic overload on a daily basis, whether it's cleaning products or like just things that we buy in the marketplace, or we're driving the car and we're driving behind somebody that has like crazy exhaust. There's no way to avoid toxic overload in our lives. So lemon is a great way to incorporate something every single day that you can help cleanse and purify your body. It's really great at soothing an irritated throat. You can also use lemon to just dilute it and clean your kitchens with. Clearly, I guess I need some too in my water, but lemon is just really powerful as like a gentle cleanse on your body every single day. And Digestin is a blend that doTERRA created that's exactly that. It's Zen for your digestive system. So if you have a lot of gastrointestinal issues, if you deal with nausea, bloating, gas, my husband deals with really bad heartburn. He applies it actually directly over his chest where he feels the heartburn. For me, I love to put it, I get that like late night bloating if I've had, too many glasses of wine, or I just indulge too much. And so I just take it and drop it directly on my lower abdomen, and you can feel the tension start to go away from that indigestion. Also really good to put into water. It does have the taste of fennel, so it's like black licorice. If you don't love that, putting this one into a veggie capsule is the best way to get that support without having to taste it. But oftentimes people do love the taste of it. You can put a drop under your tongue or just a drop in your water and go ahead and incorporate that for your digestive system. Any questions? Pretty basic, right? I feel like we kind of ran through that really quick, which is great. Those are all the basics of essential oil use. Now, I do want to help, answer questions of if you wanted to get them into your home. So basically with doTERRA, there's 2 ways to purchase essential oils. You can either purchase them retail or wholesale. So retail, I honestly barely know many people that buy retail, because if you're going to be buying more than 2 or 3 oils, you're going to see the cost benefit of being a wholesale member. So with a wholesale membership, it's like a Costco membership. It's $35 for the entire year, and you get 25% off of retail price. And so there's literally no obligation to purchase ever. You just purchase the wholesale membership. You can purchase once, or you can purchase monthly, or you can go every 3 months. There's like literally no obligation to it. And at the end of the year, it just expires, and you have to decide to renew it if you want to go ahead and move forward with it. You do get discounted and free shipping options, opportunities to earn free essential oils every month. And if you really wanted to, you could also have the ability to earn an income. But if you want to just be a wholesale customer, that does not mean you have to do the business. It's just an option if you decide that down the road. Now with the wholesale membership, like I said, it's $35, but doTERRA, they've kind of created these starter packs for people that want to get started but don't know exactly where, to get going, but they're also a great cost savings. Now the cool thing with the starter kits is they actually all waive that $35 membership. Now the first 2, these are the top 3 kits that you kind of see most people opt for when they're starting with their essential oils. The very first one pictured is the Family Essentials Kit. It's all the 10 essential oils that we talked about throughout tonight's webinar. So those top main essential oils that are very versatile and easy to use, they come in the mini intro size, like the sample size bottles. So that kit is $150, and it comes with 10 sample size bottles of essential oil. It also comes with 2 free beadlets. So they give you the Peppermint in a beadlet form and OnGuard in a beadlet form, which is a really quick way to take a fraction of a drop of essential oil, just like pop it in your mouth, and you can either swallow it or have it pop in your mouth for the taste. So that comes free with that kit, but that one's $150. Now the next step, that one's like, if you're like, I just kind of want to get my toes wet, but I don't really know how I'm going to incorporate them. That's like the sample kit. The next one up is all right, I'm ready to get started and I want the full size bottles. So the Home Essentials Kit is $275. Now the cool thing with this one, it's triple the amount of oil of the Family Essentials Kit for not even double the price. So if it's in your budget, it's definitely the one that is the better option to take, since it's such a cost saver, and it comes with a free diffuser. And just a hint, they just updated the diffuser, so it's no longer purple. It's actually a really gorgeous natural wood color on the bottom, and it diffuses up to 12 hours. So it's a really wonderful diffuser to get into your home, and comes free with that kit. And now the one beyond that is the Natural Solutions Kit. If you were like, you know what, I'm ready to change my lifestyle over, I don't want just the oils, I want the other products too, that, the OnGuard line, I want to be able to have the Deep Blue Rub, the other products like the Breathe Stick, and they have like a natural neosporin and supplements that are really amazing, plus a more powerful diffuser. The Natural Solutions Kit is honestly the place to start. It's going to take care of your entire family, like a new medicine cabinet. So it's $550, but you're going to save $220 purchasing that kit. It's like $836 worth of things. And there's a really cool promotion this month. So I want to talk about this promotion because it's obviously they just released this yesterday. If you purchase anything over 200 points value in the month of June, you get 3 extra essential oils for free. So the Home Essentials Kit and the Natural Solutions Kit both qualify for this. Or if you wanted to get the smaller kit and then add a few other things on, or if you were placing a order this month because you're already a customer, you can place a 200 PV order, and PV stands for points value. So it's not always exactly equivalent to price. So just be sure to look for the PV, the points value. So if you place a 200 PV order this month, so both new customers and current customers, you get 3 extra essential oils for free. You get the Aromatouch Massage Blend, which is incredibly powerful for circulation. It's not just to be used for massage. My husband actually just got a huge injury on his knee. on Wednesday night, he plays in a softball league, you know, an old man league, took a ball directly to the knee. It bounced like weird hop. And it was immediately, his knee was 3 times the size of the other one. And I was like, great, this is just what you need. You're going to be limping around at work tomorrow. But we used actually AromaTouch blend. So it's a massage blend, but it's really great for circulation and helping the healing of that cellular tissue. And so we used that, and his knee is already back to normal. He just has like a little bit of bruising, and that was just 4 days ago. So that was awesome. So AromaTouch comes free. Past Tense is the tension blend. This one's really great for any head tension if you deal with migraines, headaches, or just a lot of that neck tension that you could feel from all the stress and like just build up throughout the day. Past Tense is incredible. It's not diluted. It's a blend of, you know, many powerful essential oils that are just, honestly, it's heaven in a roller bottle. It was my favorite oil that I ever purchased outside of my kit. And then also Balance. So Balance is doTERRA's grounding blend. It's intended for the anxiety, tension, stressful moments of your life. For me, it was really great when I was a brand new mom and I was stressed out of my mind, like hot mess alert. I would just put a drop in my hand and smell it. And I would also use it with my baby. And it kind of helped bring us both down to that level where we're like, okay, reset. Balance you can also use on things like diaper rash. It's really great just to use on a daily basis to get yourself kind of on the right foot. So everybody qualifies for this promotion this month. It's totally incredible. I mean, usually they offer like 1 free essential oil or a cool promotion outside of that, but 3 free essential oils for a 200 PV order. You definitely want to capitalize on that. I'm going to stop the share. So basically, whoever invited you to the class tonight, if you need help ordering anything or if you want to get started with something that you saw, please reach out to whoever sent this video to you or shared it with you, and they would be happy to help you. But are there any other questions before we end out tonight? No? Super straightforward. Yep. I hope it was really beneficial. I think sometimes people are like, oh, these essential oils can be so like intimidating, but they are simple. If you do get started or if you are started, make sure you are a part of our online community on Facebook. We have a private community Facebook page where you can ask all the questions all day long, or you could just read all the amazing information that we have for our community. It's just a really great like support group. So you can figure out, how do I use my essential oils? What are other creative ways I can incorporate them? Or, you know, what's X, Y, and Z that I'm dealing with that I don't want to share with anybody? And you can just search the group and probably find it. So really fun to have. So I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. And other than that, go ahead and reach out to us if you have further questions, but I hope you ladies have a wonderful evening.